She passed the deputy, just about to Change the picture behind you. Ah. Okay. No, nothing's that one. I never noticed it. It's the sun's not one. It's a feature of it. What is that, Chris?
Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Did you hear us on stage?
Was that on Sunday? Wasn't there last week, so it's new to me.
Councillor Paul, you're on. I can see you on Teams. Can you hear us?
It's just put a message saying,
Yes, great.
how do you?
Good. Okay. Well, in that case, we'll start. So, thank you everyone for joining tonight's meeting of Wilton Town Council. Just to remind everyone, this meeting is recorded, both audibly and visually. Before the meeting starts, we'll enter into 20 minutes of public participation. And if I can just ask members of the public to try and limit their questions to no more than 3 minutes. But without further ado, it's Steve.
Anthony Brown, I'm on the flood group. Law Street. Law Street was flooded today in several places, specifically between Wiley Terrace and Dotson Way, the normal areas of flood. I sent some photographs to the town clerk this morning of the flooding, particularly bad areas. The problem is the drain at number 85 North Street. I've reported it endlessly and nothing ever seems to get done about it. And the problem is that it fills rapidly, then the water flows straight over the top of it. It does eventually empty itself, but it is not acting as a drain in terms of taking away the surface water. And it is the only drain from Humpback Bridge until you get to Castle Lane, where there is a working drain. And with the amount of vegetation currently in the gutters, the flooding is even worse. Not only does it spread across the pavements, but it also spreads into the road, and that then splashes back on the pedestrians if there are no gaps between the cars. I really think it's time that we got that drain at 85 properly looked at and sorted out. I've even tried running it myself, to be honest, but there's a problem further down that I couldn't deal with. And the general state of the undergrowth, some of it's as high as that, and in places even worse. And it really does need clearing out. So hopefully you'll be able to get the parish mention or whatever they're called now to perhaps do something about that. Because that creates further flooding, so we can't flow properly. That's the first thing. The second thing is the absolute eyesore of the coachworks. It's been left derelict now for, I don't know, 15, 20 years, can't remember, since Pet Shop moved out. It's full of vermin, feathered and otherwise. Bits of it keep falling off, including roof tiles. The guttering having's been removed now, but there's still parts of it, and it's cast iron, so that comes down. You're talking about a serious injury. I know it's all tied into the planning aspects of the felt mill. I know the felt mill purchased it at some point in order to give access to the site when that gets, if ever gets developed. And when I was on this council many years ago, I think I saw at least 2, if not more, maybe 3 planning applications go through. Nothing ever came anywhere. But it is an eyesore. And you have, or the county council, I suppose, as the main authority, has the authority to force the owners to either remove the building or they can do it themselves and give the owners the bill. And the legal phrase is called mandamus, that's MANDAMUS. It's a legal order to enforce somebody to do something when they can't be bothered or just ignoring their responsibilities. And I know about that because that happened with a property that my family was involved with many years ago. I won't bore you with the details, but somebody pinched it, never did anything with it, it fell to pieces, and eventually the council ordered it to be demolished. So it's probably not your responsibility, but I think it's something that the county council should take up. And it really is an eyesore. I mean, if it was demolished, even if there is some development at a later stage, and I realise that access to that site would have to be through North Street. The reality is that it's in the centre of our town and it looks awful. And there's just no excuse for it. They actually have planning permission for 2 shops and a couple of flats above it. But they can't do that because then they wouldn't be able to get trucks in and out of the site. So it's got to be demolished at some point anyway. And it could be used for parking. They could get some revenue from it. I don't know. But I really think it's time as a community we did something about it. And you know, walking up and down North Street, there's so many people complaining about it. Yes. So let's try and get some action done to remove it, or have something done with it.
Yes.
So that was all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anthony, I'll drop you an email later, because you mentioned that you sent some photographs through. They haven't come through to my inbox today.
Okay.
So I'll contact you by email and we can maybe follow that through.
Right.
Because I'm meeting with the flood.
I sent a copy to our county councillor as well.
Right.
I'm sure it's gone. It hasn't come back as far as
Okay. Well, I'll touch base with you.
Okay. And I reported it. Sorry, I reported it to the county council on my act, and I sent you the reference number as well.
Great. Thank you very much. We'll see what we can do to hurry that along. Any other questions? Yes, please. Lady on the left.
At the previous full council meeting on 11th of May, I asked 2 questions. One question was not answered at the meeting, and my unanswered question does not appear in the draft minutes for that meeting. My question was regarding the scope of works for the compound and car park tendering that asks contractors to provide advice on relocating the wildflower patch in Castle Meadow, but it did not say where the wildflower patch would be moved to. My question was, how can a contractor give advice on moving the wildflower meadow when they do not know where the wildflower meadow was being moved to? They don't know the accessibility of the new site or the condition of the new site. Please could my omitted question be added to the draft minutes for that meeting, which you were looking at tonight. My next question also relates to the draft minutes in the 11th of May meeting. It is wrongly stated in the draft minutes of that meeting that Maria Lefemina, in her role as a councillor, commissioned the appraisal of the wildflower meadow in Castle Meadow that was carried out by Dr. Appleyard and Dr. Fitzpatrick on the 21st of April. Maria Lefemina and I both said clearly at the meeting that this was not true, that it was Wilton Wildlife Group that asked for an appraisal to be undertaken of the wildflowers. You have received an email from Dr. Appleyard that clearly states that she volunteered to do a survey for the Wilton Wildlife Group. Could the draft minutes be updated so they show that the appraisal was a Wilton Wildlife Group report? Thank you for putting this right.
I'm happy to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we've said all the way along that once the council has appointed the contractor, that the contractor will work with the project group to develop the detailed design, and that will include the wildflower meadow. And based on any recommendations that also come out of the ecology surveys, the council will then set its direction at that point. In terms of the communication from...
Well, that isn't really answering my question. My question is, how can they give advice on moving it when you haven't even told them where they're moving it to?
But we don't know if it's going to be moved yet.
Yeah, but
It can stay exactly as it is.
you're actually asking them for advice on that point.
We're asking them to provide advice on that area as part of the scope. I don't think we can answer the question that you're asking, because they need to assess the site, they need to assess what.
Well, that question is the scope of work.
Yeah, but we can't say where it's going to go if we're not going to move it.
Ridiculous.
Can I just say for clarity, the two tenders we've had for the work, as far as I understand, the two tenders that we've been received for the car park area and welcome there, neither of those has included the wildflower patch or removal of it. The removal of the wildflower patch was by somebody who was consulted on previously, but is not currently one of our tending process. So that's really not on the table, as far as I understand it.
Sure. Yeah, understood. So that's the answer to that question. I'm afraid that I can't give you anything else. That is the reality of it. In terms of the second question, which was about correcting the minutes, I'm not prepared to amend the minutes from the last meeting because they are a factual account of what was said in that meeting. We will take into account what you said tonight, and on the basis of the additional correspondence we've received from Dr. Appleyard, I'll make sure that's minted in tonight's meeting.
So you will put in the minutes what we said,
From tonight, yes.
but that wasn't true.
No, because we had at the time when that statement was made, we had a letter from Dr. Appleyard that clearly stated that Councillor Lefevre had requested that information. So at the time, those minutes were correct. But in tonight's meeting, I'm happy to include what you said this evening and make sure that's a record for the meeting tonight.
I did say at the last meeting that I didn't commission anybody.
I'm not going to get into the
And
debate.
certainly not as a councillor.
I'm not going to get into the debate over it. The
Yeah, but I
information that
didn't
came
clearly
through.
say
Yeah,
it.
but the information
Minuted incorrectly, I'm just
it
saying.
was, I'm afraid, Councillor Lefevre, it was not minuted incorrectly, it was minuted correctly because that was the information that we had from Dr. Appleyard. That has since, you're saying, is a correction. So we will make sure that's minuted in tonight's meeting. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Good evening. I'm Marion Powell and I'm on the leadership of the team here at Wilton Baptist Church. I've read with interest the outline proposal for the delivery of the Christmas 2026 event, including the potential appointment of a professional events company to support the planning and management of the Christmas light event. I've lived in Wilton for 34 years and I've attended the Christmas tree lighting for nearly every one of those years. What is special about the evening here in Wilton is that it is a truly community event. Along with the Town Council, it is planned and delivered by people, organisations, businesses and tradespeople who are part of this town. In most places, Christmas has become over-commercialised, with money being the focus. Wilton has bucked this trend, and as a Christian, I'm delighted that the focus here has been on the true meaning of Christmas, the coming into the world of Jesus Christ. It was over 3 decades ago that the Reverend Bede Cooper, the then rector of Wilton, persuaded the council to include a nativity tableau. This has happened every year since then. Children from the local school, along with scouts and guides, brownies and cubs, the local band and the churches, tell the story of light coming into the darkness. Everyone can join in singing carols and share in the hope that is so sorely needed in this world. There's a lovely atmosphere among the crowd, many of whom are there because their children are taking part in the production. Wilton Rotary serve mulled wine, bring Santa along. The Baptist Church here welcomes people and serves hot chocolate and mince pies and does activities for the children. The Greyhound usually has food on offer. Other businesses are open and local organisations have stalls to raise money for charity. And we finish off with Morris dancers. I am concerned that if there is a professional events company taking over, we could lose what is special about Wilton Christmas. We are only a small town. Why do we want to emulate what goes on elsewhere when we have something unique to treasure? We don't need to encourage more people to come. It's a limited space and it's already pretty packed with local folk. We don't need security guards. It's a good-natured crowd. I've never heard of any disruptive behaviour. If the company can bring something to enhance what we already have and work with the community, then it would be most welcome. I would like to be assured that the package which is being funded will have that intention.
Thank you. I can assure you that we are absolutely going to work with the community on this. If we decide that the council may not decide that they want
Yeah.
to appoint an events company. But that said, everything you just mentioned, I would not expect to be inhibited by the use of an events company.
That would be part of it.
I'd only expect it to be enhanced.
Yeah,
That would definitely be my personal intention.
good.
But it will come down to whether the council decides that they want to do that. But I completely understand your points and I absolutely take them on board.
Thank you.
Thank you. Just Mr. Cutland.
Well, sorry, I just want to comment on that.
Oh,
Last thing. No, just to say that Councillor Ditton and I are both on the working group, and it is proposed that an events company will organise it
Yeah,
and set it up. But we will be encompassing all the traditions that we already used to. At the moment, we have a few councillors who volunteer to stay out there all day, and it's really demoralising for those few people. So the idea is to get a professional events company to organise the event, but to include everything that's known as traditional. So that's not going to be affected as far as we're concerned.
yeah, I kind of got that impression from what is in the notes about it.
That's just want to reassure you that.
Yeah, thank you very much.
thank you. That's good.
Thanks, Chair. I was going to raise that point. I think it's volunteers have worked very hard for the last X years, but there comes a time when they've had enough of volunteering, and you do need to rely on somebody who knows what they're doing, but to include what is traditional as well.
Yeah, thank
So I'm
you.
sure from what I've heard, it'd be very similar to what you want, but taking the burden off the volunteers who work very hard to do it. I'm afraid I won't be here next weekend when the village does its usual monthly market. I just wonder if Wilton Town Council, who has nothing to do with the market itself, it is in Wilton, has any views about Big Brother Salisbury thinking about suing you for breach of a charter, which they've only had since 1227. And you've had an older charter. So I wonder how you're going to respond to any potential bullying by Salisbury about stopping having a market on a Saturday. Yeah.
Yes, it's disappointing that it's materialised in the way that it has. What I can say for the moment is that we'd like to absolutely work with Salisbury and Wilton Village to ensure that both markets can coexist without the detriment of each other, which I don't believe there is any detriment to Salisbury Market as a result of Wilton Village. But I also completely respect the charter and understand, we have our own charter, as you rightly mentioned, is actually older than Salisbury's. So, we have mutual respect for the charters, but I'm very keen to work with Councillor Church and Salisbury City Council to find a way forward.
Thank you. It just seemed a little bit over the top to suggest they might possibly.
Yes, I can't disagree. Yes.
So just the latest on that, as far as I understand it, is that it's although that legal notice has been served on the Wilton Village, since that notice has been served, there have been dialogue between the two parties. Because I've got contact within there, and I don't know what the latest is, but they are talking to each other rather than going through the legal process, which makes common sense. So hopefully there will be an outcome that will be suitable for everybody involved in both the Wilton Town Council and also the Wilton Village and Wilton.
Any other questions from the room?
One follow up on my bin question from, I don't know if it was the last meeting or the meeting before. I suggested that the bin on the right hand side as you come South Street right into Burton Lane would be moved over to the bench. Bob and I went past it the other day and thought, oh, maybe it'd be easier to get an additional bin. So that's all.
Yeah, we are in the process of looking into that. We haven't forgotten.
Marvellous.
It's on the list. It's
I don't know, I wasn't sure which would be cheaper, so.
Thank you. Any other questions from the room? Okay, thank you. On to Teams. I believe we have a question. The
Yes,
question
please.
from the council board.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm actually not speaking as Councillor Boyd, sorry, I'm speaking as just resident Alexandra Boyd. The Christmas lights, I wanted to say about it. Now, the cost of living crisis is still in full swing. I know when my 4 youngest children were young and I would have took them down, or we always used to come down to Wilton to the Christmas market and, you know, used to buy the wreaths, whatever they had on offer or whatever food there was. And that was that really. We saw the nativity. Now, we're a Jewish family. My kids have always helped out in the nativity, and I absolutely love it because it's you know, festival of light, just the same as ours. Now, with the cost of living, if we put big ride, oh, not big rides, but rides and things there, which cost families, I think that will pose a bit of a problem. That is my first comment. The second comment is, so councillors who have got businesses in Wilton, would they have to declare an interest in the Christmas light? You know, if they're in that group to help with the Christmas light in the working group. And my third one is Minster Street. By the sign where we've got the notice board, there is the slabs which I had showed. I'm sure you before, Chris, as well. But also Peter, he hurt his ankle before there. It's really quite tricky. We've got a young grandson, and I could have quite easily broke my new wheelchair. Can that please be sorted out? Thank you. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Alexandra. Just a couple of questions. So just on the Minster Street, are you talking about the street itself? Or are you talking about?
Oh, sorry, no, Minster Street Park, I should have said. The notice board is here, and that entrance there is quite a bit tricky actually to get in.
Okay, so it's one opposite the shelter, the main one. You're referring to.
So we'll capture that and we'll get that sorted.
Thank you.
The question about the Christmas lights. Angela, did you want to make a comment?
But if we do have any rides, there will be the double children kiddies rides like we always used to have before. So the event has always been treated. That's probably about 3 or 4 years ago. We've always had kiddies rides and other things. Yeah, so it's going to be very much family oriented type thing. So it's not going to be a lavish funfair event and sort of like that. So.
Can I add something?
Yes, please do.
Just also in terms of clarity, it is deemed as having Councillor Ditton on the project group as one of adding value to represent the local businesses, because ultimately the event is there to support the local businesses and to bring footfall into the town by working together. And there's no personal interest for Councillor Ditton, so she is able to fully participate in that project group and brings a different dynamic as a business owner.
All right, thank you. I just wanted to make sure not that we're going to get told off or anything like that. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. And that concludes public participation for today. So if we move on to apologies. So we have apologies.
We've had apologies from Councillor Boyd not being able to be here in person, Councillor Matthews, and it's to be noted that Councillor Blackman will be arriving late because she is travelling back from holiday as we speak.
Excuse me.
Do we have any declarations of interest? Any requests for dispensation?
No.
No. So the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 11th of May 2026. The all had chance to read those as part of your bundles. Is there any questions or queries you want to make? Councillor Lathamana?
Yes, do we have a recorded vote on this? Because I'm going to vote against them on the basis that I know the mayor said that I was representing the council when I met with a lady I didn't know. And I'd just like to say that myself said that wasn't correct, and Susan also said it wasn't correct at that meeting. So if you're going to minute one thing, I think you should have minuted the other, because that's just incorrect. I didn't commission anybody. To commission someone, you have to choose a name and a person. I didn't know who was going to come. A volunteer was going to come. A third party got onto the Wiltshire Botanical Society for me, and anyone from that group could have come. They weren't paid, so it wasn't commissioned. So I'd like to have that minuted as well, and noted that I don't agree with the minutes. I don't think it's fair, just because you've said something at a meeting, that it should be minuted if it's correct. If you left out Councillor La Femina, that would have been fine. Now, Dr. Appleyard doesn't know me, so she probably wouldn't know if I'm a miss or a Mrs. I'm a Mrs., but she wouldn't know. So just to be polite, she probably put councillor, okay, because we had that conversation, because she used to be a parish councillor. So, you know, I really would like that withdrawn, noted that I did not commission anyone on behalf of the council, because I didn't commission anybody. You can't commission someone if you don't know who's going to come.
Did you want to say?
I just wanted to say that I'm not sure it's entirely up to the council whether they want a recorded vote, but it's up to you, Councillor November, if you want to just not vote in favour of the vote.
Yeah, I will vote against.
Yeah, I think it doesn't require a recorded vote, but we can certainly.
So I'm not happy that, you know, something's written down like that when two of us refuted it. We're not lying. Dr. Appleyard wasn't lying. You know, she met us in good faith.
I'm not changing my position on this, because at the time when we had that discussion at the last meeting, we had written documentation from Dr. Appleyard saying the contrary. That situation. Councillor Femina, can I finish, please? Please.
I've explained that.
Well, can I finish, please? You've had your chance to speak. Now, the situation has changed. That's been duly noted this evening, and that will be minuted. It is your right to vote against the minutes if you're not happy with them, but that is the end of the matter. So I am going to propose the minutes as they are.
And also there's a question missing from the minutes.
Councillor Femina.
Yeah. But that,
with which we.
so they're incorrect.
Do we want to capture that question?
I have.
Fine, thank you. So we'll include the question. So I'll propose the minutes with the addition of the question that was raised in public participation. Can I have a seconder, please? Councillor H. All in favour? All in favour, one against. Thank you. Item number 4, to receive report for information from the full council. So the civic report. So Councillor Chris Harrison confirmed that Wilton Town Council representation at the next event for Wilton Village, which is scheduled for Sunday, this coming Sunday, the 14th of June, 2026, reflecting the council continued support for community-led activities and local enterprise. So please do come along to Wilton Village this Sunday. You will see a number of us there throughout the day. We won't all be at the same time, but we'll be very much be there to listen to your views and hear from you, especially about things that you've seen in council meetings, any other things that you wish to raise with us, or even it's just to have a chat, but we will be there. In terms of reports, I'm going to come to Councillor Church in a moment to do the Wiltshire Council reports. In fact, I'll do that now. I've got a couple more to go through afterwards.
Thank you, Mr. I'll stand up so I can not got my back to anyone. So it's been, I've got to say, it's been a month of battles, whether it's preserving our fire station, the monthly markets at Wilton Village, or trying to get more Section 106 transport infrastructure funding from developers. So I'm just going to start with this. So the 406 new homes on Netherhampton Road. I called in the application to Councillor Brian Dalton's disapproval, who's my co-councillor on that particular site, and spoke at Strategic Planning Committee earlier this month to ask that greater funding be made available for transport infrastructure, not just for Salisbury, where it seems all the Section 106 money goes, but to provide transport mitigations for Wilton, Quidhampton and Netherhampton, such as the extension of the R5 bus service to Netherhampton Village and the footpath from Netherhampton to Quidhampton, which I know Councillor H is also a great advocate for. Plus, I've got grave concerns around the developer's commitment to pay Section 106 contributions, that is on transport infrastructure, etc., which affects Wilton. Wiltshire Council has already received a Section 106 variation from the developer on the application for the 106 homes on the land north of Netherhampton Road. And this variation seeks to vary financial contributions in respect of early years education, such as nurseries and primary schools, highway improvements and the bus contribution, i.e. they are requesting not to pay it. So however, I've disputed the financial viability assessment that produced to substantiate the variation. It redacted a lot of information, but I got the financials from the planning officer, and it erroneously uses low prospective house values where there's evidence homes sell for more. It appears the developer is attempting to suppress values to return less profit, and this is deeply concerning and an unacceptable practice at the expense of my community. And I made this clear at the developers at the meeting. The application was regrettably approved, and the chair refused to condition the application as I'd requested, i.e. the bus and the footpath. But however, it has focused the minds of highways and planning officers, and I'll keep pressing for transport improvements in that area with what little they have to work with. Garden waste. Wiltshire Council is reminding residents to renew their garden waste to ensure uninterrupted service and avoid miscollections. Households that pay online will have received an email reminding them that the subscription expires at the end of this month on the 30th of June. And to avoid a gap in service, residents need to renew their subscription by the 27th of June. And you can find more information on how to do that on wiltshirecouncil.gov.uk/garden waste. Local plan. I'm deeply concerned by Wiltshire Council's decision to withdraw the draft local plan. So this is a massive strategic document that's produced every 10 or 15 years, which dictates where housing developments are going to be, and also accounts for the additional homes that government want us to have, which is now increased by 80%. This isn't just another piece of council paperwork, it's about who controls the future of our communities. And without an up-to-date local plan, we risk losing control over development and being hit with even higher housing targets imposed from outside Wiltshire. The previous draft plan provides a framework for managed sustainable growth, helping protect villages and ensure infrastructure could keep pace with development. Walking away from it now leaves Wiltshire vulnerable to speculative development and what many are already calling a planning free-for-all. I'm also troubled that key legal advice was withheld from most councillors, including myself, before such a major decision was taken. Residents expect openness and transparency. After spending around 2.2 million developing the evidence base, it's extraordinary in my view that the administration at Wiltshire Council chose not to continue the examination process when a relatively modest additional investment could have helped keep the plan alive, as other councils are doing. So that's one big concern. Local people, I think, deserve a planning system that works for them, and not one that simply hands the advantages to developers, which is currently what's happening. So it would be remiss of me not to talk about Wilton Fire Station. I brought a motion to the Wiltshire Council's full council meeting, asking council and colleagues to show support for keeping all four Wiltshire's fire stations open. This is in addition to lobbying Westminster colleagues from the start, attending every briefing. I was the only councillor who attended the MP and Wiltshire councillors briefing. I've rocked up at every public meeting offered. I've met union officials, firefighters. So it's ironic, considering John Glenn has also made inroads at the Treasury to push the precept flexibility and improve funding going forward, that Wilton Fire Station isn't one that could be saved. It makes no sense in my view, and a merger is a closure by another name.
Absolutely.
I stand by my comments that the closure of Wiltshire Fire Station is a threat to frontline services and civil defence capabilities, which we know too well in this area. With regards to the Novichok incident in Salisbury, we need to understand what a merger means, both operationally and to response times for residents, businesses in this area and beyond. It's comforting at least our neighbouring communities are spared, but we must keep fighting for Wilton. The decision will be made by councillor colleagues at the Fire Authority meeting on the 30th of June at City Hall in Salisbury. It's a public meeting. I think they're giving us the big hall, giving the Fire Authority the big hall there, because they expect lots of people to attend. We need a massive crowd, so it's a rent a crowd plea. And so please do everyone come along. And sorry, I've been a bit tense on this kind of vitriol about the situation of things at the moment, but any questions, happy to take them.
I just say, I was, Pauline, you know that you and I have many differences on political basis, but I think there's no doubt that 100% we're both aligned fully with the closure of the fire stations. This morning, I did a radio interview on BBC Wiltshire Radio before that interview, because they're talking about obviously the merger of Wilton and Salisbury. If Wilton merges with Salisbury, what it will mean is the appliances will go to Salisbury, and the on-call firefighters from Wilton, when their alert goes off, they will have to respond to Salisbury Fire Station. At 7 o'clock this morning, I did a dummy run, and it worked on the basis that it was going to be probably a nighttime show. So at 7 o'clock, I was just getting up anyway. And after 5 minutes, which is the normal response time, I was in my car and I was at Fogeston, where Councillor Fitton lives. So at 5 minutes, that would have got me to Wilton Fire Station. It took me a further 6 minutes to get to Salisbury Fire Station, and that was going along Wilton Road. There was no traffic at that time. I went up Highbury Avenue, and that was fine. It wasn't until I got on the top of Devizes Road that there was a bit of a queue going down there. But that took me 6 minutes, and that was, I would say, that was a good run. So the attitude.
And they haven't even got in the truck.
No, they haven't even got the truck. That's just they arrived at the station. So my point is that if that's going to be continued, that's going to be a proposal that is pursued, you will end up in a situation where, as you say, it'll be a closure by another name, because the firefighters will simply get so fed up with trying to do their duty and respond for their community that they will never be able to turn out, they will never be able to do it, and they will end up resigning. And the irony of it is that Wilton Fire Station will still be available, because they will be holding CFA meetings there. So, you know, what is to be gained, and I have put on record that whoever thought this idea out is a complete idiot and has no consideration of what on-call firefighters are about. And if that's the chief officer, then I'm naming the blame firmly against all and make no bones about that.
You want to do that dummy run at 2-3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon?
Yeah. Minutes.
Any other questions for Councillor Chair? Just on the fire station, I'm just going to read out a statement from Wilton Town Council. So as many of you will be aware, the Chief Fire Officer for Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service announced on the 5th of June that his professional advice regarding proposed station closures has changed. Rather than outright closure, the new recommendations at Wilton Fire Station will merge with Salisbury Fire Station for an initial 12-month trial period. While we note this development, we remain very unclear on the full practical and operational impacts of this proposed merger. It is vital that we understand exactly how a merger will work in reality, particularly how it will affect our local on-call crews and their ability to effectively serve our community. Therefore, I want to use this opportunity to restate the Council's continued and unwavering support for keeping Wilton Fire Station fully open and operational. We will continue to scrutinise these proposals and advocate strongly on behalf of our town to ensure that our emergency response times remain low and the safety of our residents is never compromised. So we'll send that out tomorrow. Thank you. Any other reports for local organisations from councillors? Okay. You have to bear with me, I'm afraid you have to listen to it a bit more. I've got a statement from the police to read out to you. So this is Wiltshire Police Parish Council report for June. So motoring related offences, speed enforcement reported 42 vehicles speeding on the 28th of May 2026 in Wilton on the avenue over the course of 40 minutes. This stretch of road has a clearly displayed speed limit of 30 miles per hour. The fastest vehicle was recorded travelling at 50 miles per hour on the day in question. It was hot and sunny and the roads were dry. Depending on previous convictions and history, 33 drivers will be offered a speed awareness course, 8 drivers will receive a fixed penalty notice and 3 points, and 1 driver will be subject to court recovery. Proceedings will now be undertaken to ensure the most appropriate outcome for the offenders takes place. Flashing lights at other drivers is illegal and has no effect on the long-term driving habits. Drivers who are in the habit of speeding will continue to speed until they are caught. If you have friends or family who like to warn others of enforcement ahead, but don't like people speeding in a place where they live, please politely ask them to stop and help us make our roads safer. Antisocial behaviour. As we are heading into the summer months, it is likely we will see an increase in antisocial behaviour. If you experience any incidents of ASB, please ensure that these are reported to Wiltshire Police in one of the usual ways. There are three main categories for antisocial behaviour, depending on how many people are affected. So personal is when a person targets a specific individual or group. Nuisance is when a person causes trouble, annoyance, or suffering to a community. Environmental is when a person's actions affect the wider environment, such as public spaces and buildings. Examples of ASB include vehicle nuisance or inappropriate use, rowdy or inconsiderate behaviour, nuisance neighbours, noise, street drinking, and begging. For information, please visit what is antisocial behaviour on Wiltshire Police's website. And then, as they always say to us, community consultations, if there are any local events, please do let the team know by their email address, which is included in the statement, and they will try their best to attend. Thank you. We have another statement as well from Councillor Matthews.
You don't need to read that out.
I don't need to read that one out.
No.
Fine. On to then item number 5. So to receive financial reports and approve payments. So I think I've received all of your all of the financial paperwork in your papers. Any questions, concerns, comments you want to make? No? Okay. So I suggest that we, as per the recommendation, we receive and note the bank reconciliation year-to-date receipts and payment versus budget, monthly breakdown by postcode report and list of payments. In terms of the resolution, so we need to now resolve to ratify the payments to the value of £22,972.83. Now I will propose it, please. Councillor Ditton, seconder. Councillor Willock, all in favour? All in favour. Thank you. On to agenda item number 6. So to consider a formal request from the Wilton Cricket Club. So I won't go through this in detail because I'm sure you've all read it. But ultimately we need to resolve one of 3 options regarding this. So the options that are recommended to us are to approve the application of the published hire charges for the full hire period of 12 to 7 being £67.20 gross per fixture, or to approve a reduced concessionary charge for Wilton Cricket Club by continuing to apply the half-day 5 hours rate of £48 gross for match day hire where use is approximately 7 hours, or to apply the published charge and to ensure consistency and transparency, invite a community grant application to address the agreed shortfall subject to council's usual governance arrangements. Have any thoughts or comments, please, from councillors?
So my thoughts are, we have been doing this for quite a while. They're part of our Wilton community, so I thought we continue. Perhaps we say we will review it after 2 or 3 seasons, so we have a review of it. That way it gives them time to be aware that we may increase, but it is a long-standing agreement. It's important to the community, and it's hard economic times. So for me, I'm happy with option 2. It's a small financial impact in the bigger scheme of things, but I'm aware that every bit counts.
Thank you. Any other comments from anyone?
If that's the proposal, I'm happy to second that.
Okay. But any other proposals?
Does this not set you know, them apart from other groups? That's what I worry about. If you give this to one group, they get 7 hours for the equivalent of half a day. You know, some people like U3A might be paying for half a day, and they may say, well, why can't we have that? I was thinking maybe the answer would be to go for charging them for the 7 hours, because I don't know how many are on a cricket team. Is it 11? You divide it by 11, I suppose, and then get them to apply for the £500 grant. You know, so that would tide them over for a couple of years, wouldn't it? To afford the extra £20. Is it £20? £19.20.
Who would the grant be from?
Us.
From us.
So
we'd give it back.
So we give it
just
back
in
to
a
them.
roundabout way. We could,
Give them a
do
leeway.
we- what do we charge, for example, because we have lots of regular viewers, pirates. What do we charge the football club, for example? Because they're, you know, their seasons run.
Yeah, so I think they're charged £48, but they hire it for less than 7 hours, they hire it for 5 hours.
So they pay for what they.
Yeah, and I think it's probably timely just to say that the council last reviewed its fees and charges in 2022. So that's another piece of work that we will be bringing back to the council. It's a full review of all of our fees and charges because it's normal for a council to review that on an annual basis.
I think we should charge them the 7 hours and invite a grant application, because we're helping them in a roundabout way. That way.
Everyone else still pays.
And everyone, yeah.
Everyone pays what they
I agree.
charging is.
Because they're in, sorry.
No, that's, I was caught between the two, and I think they are a regular. So I don't think we necessarily be sent it, because most of the other hires are 4 or 5 hours anyway. But I was torn between B and C, and I just thought that B may be the easiest option. But you know, if people disagree with that, there's a motion on the table.
There absolutely is. There absolutely is. So there's one, so we've got one motion. Councillor Lefender, do you want to propose that?
Yes, I can propose that provided.
And we've already got-
You've already got the one proposal on the table.
Oh, so
Yeah.
what happened?
And just proposed option B, and I seconded it.
Okay, so
does my proposal carry that we review it after perhaps 2 seasons? Would they apply for a grant every year? Perhaps we just do it until the end of the cricket season for this season then. You're saying, am I proposing that?
Well, you're proposing that we let them have it for £48 ad infinitum.
No, not ad infinitum, no. With a review after I'd initially said 2 to 3 seasons. But
Yeah.
perhaps it's,
I don't have a problem with that. If you change that, then I'll withdraw my second.
you've confused me.
so are we going with this proposal or not?
Yeah, it's a.
So we've got a proposal. Yeah, so we've got a proposal for B.
If it falls, then you.
Yeah, sure. So we've got a proposal for B. All in favour?
Suppose it's going to be me because I'm
That's two.
yeah.
Okay, so that motion failed. So councillor Lefender, you were going to propose.
That they pay for 7 hours.
Yeah.
And we allow them to apply for a grant for £500, you know, tide them over.
Yeah, so that is
No, second.
Again,
That we, instead of allow, encourage.
because then would not everybody apply for said grant and would it then not have us in for more money ultimately?
Yeah.
I don't know.
so councillor Lefender proposed C, councillor Willis seconded it.
Yeah.
So we've got a proposal for C. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so all in favour? No, so all in favour, one against. Or are you abstaining?
I'll abstain.
Abstaining. Okay, so that's carried. So it's C. So we're encouraged them to apply for a grant.
And also, I'd just like to add, we've got comments as well, with these teams that come along with the football, with the cricket, they bring into the community, they bring their other halves, they invest into our small businesses. You know,
Which is all the more reason I was going for number 2, because we don't want to cause bad vibes. We want to encourage local.
It's the same difference, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Agenda item number 7, so to consider the 2026 Christmas lights from the project group. So I'll invite the project group to speak on this one.
I'll pick up on that if I may. Yeah, so we've seen that we got 3 proposals and 4 companies C came in with their price, and if we get out an online meeting this morning just to clarify a few points. So we've had some consistency between all the relevant companies. I'd be interested to see what other members think, but I think it's fair to say that from Councillor Ditton and myself's point of view, we would be proposing company C to be the project.
And on what basis?
We like that proposal. Yes, it's fair to say that all the proposals are slightly over budget, but that's something we can work with. It's the same with the other things that, you know, at this point, at the moment in time, we're actually proposing to go with a supplier who's going to do all the work, the actual financial and the final designs that we will be going back to full council with once we approve once the council's agreed to approve supply.
Where do you want to go for C?
We just thought it was different.
It's pretty.
It's a
It's
bit more. We want, this year we think we're doing something spectacular. We think that this proposal is probably the most spectacular option to go for. I mean, I think that's a fair point. I was going to say something else, but that might be not relevant. No, the only reason I was going to say that because it might give you an idea of who they were. I don't know.
Is that the only one where we're buying the lights?
So-
We're not buying the lights.
So on this one, it's part purchase, part hire. So the hire would be of, let me get this paper in the right place. That one. So hire is everything except the Market Square trees. The Market Square trees would be a purchase of lights, which would be installed for 3 years, potentially, unless we tweak that as well, but going for now, they've been installed for 3 years with the 2-finger rule, so the room for the growth, no strangulation of trees, etc. And then everything else would be an annual cost for the 4-year term. So that 10,698 plus that is the full cost to purchase the lights for the marketplace trees. The other thing I really liked about C was the sustainability. Because they use quite a lot of recycled plastics in their makings, and magical app,
Yeah, but
which
as you know, up till now, we always had a situation where we've had various people stuck at various points all switching on simultaneously. The companies seem to actually provide an app so that it can all be controlled and they can all come out at once.
Who's gonna have the power though?
not me, I'll just say that going back.
So it will make things a lot easier. So it can be programmed for anything you want to do. And yeah, so that's an additional advantage.
And what about faults out of hours? They
Well,
have an emergency call out.
yeah, they do. All the companies supply emergency call outs.
Because as we know from previous years, it's been us that have been out there.
But that's
fixing
because
stuff.
the companies see with the app, you can also report any faults. So it goes direct to them. So we don't know quite what their response time is yet. That's something we need to find out. But yeah, they will be informed straight away. So we would hope that it could be pretty quick.
Can I just add something? Having supported Michelle and Pete with each of the site visits, company C presented a very comprehensive design proposal. It was the only company that actually produced a mock-up of what it could look like in Wilton. I don't know if you've had a look at the design proposal that I sent through via email. It was all redacted out on Saturday, but it gives you a very clear insight into what the scheme could deliver in terms of the wow factor and the professional approach to the whole process, from signing up to the contract and what that 4-year partnership would then look like.
I have a question. Obviously the budget's the budget for this year. That is, looks like the most expensive. No, it is actually the most expensive. How does that impact agenda item 7A in terms of budget?
Well, as far as we're concerned, I don't think there is room for manoeuvre on. Let's say the details. Well, we work with whichever company we went with. We work with trying to keep it within the budget. If we had to go over the budget, then we'd come back to the council for clarification on that.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is our start point in terms of cost and budget, and the key here is similar to what we've done in the past. Is once the contract has been selected, then the council can work up the detail. The project group can work through the detail to look at potential savings and flexibility of the scheme.
So if you want to, I'll propose option C.
Can we have it for 1 year, so that we can get public feedback, or does that put the price up?
Substantially.
And that does with all of the companies, they will double, that'll be particularly, we did raise that as a question, do we think, you know, if we weren't happy with it after year one, then,
Yeah, we're stuck with that.
yeah, but,
I think you said today they do 270 towns across the UK. The 270.
Okay, so we've got proposer, seconder. Oh, seconder, all in favour?
Are you doing these on block? Sorry.
So this is for
7,
7, 8.
Yes.
Okay.
sorry, sorry.
Seven, not seven,
Yeah.
7. 7, sorry.
the 7th. So sorry, can I just do that again, please? All in favour? So, all in favour, one abstain?
I'm going to abstain because I haven't really had a good look at it, to be honest.
Yeah, no problem. So that is carried company C. Agenda item 7A then, so this is to consider the 2026 Christmas light event proposal from the project group. So
Sorry, can I just go back, Chris?
Yeah.
There are other recommendations in the proposal.
okay, sorry. So we've agreed the strategic direction of the scheme. Or have we? We've got a company C.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, these can all be done on block. It's really just so that I've got a minute record.
Okay, so delegates, so in that case then, so we're happy that recommendation 1 is covered.
Yeah.
So recommendation 2 to delegate authority to the town clerk in consultation with the project working group to further develop the third option, further negotiate the scope specifications, best value of the contract over the initial 3-year period.
Yeah.
Is it 3?
Yeah.
Yeah. With any final structural arrangements to be brought back to the council where required into accordance with the council standing order and financial regulation.
Yes.
Yeah.
You propose on that?
Second, yeah.
Yeah.
So proposed by councillor, seconded by councillor Little. All in favour? All in favour, 1 abstention.
Yeah.
When you said, well, we're about 7 and 8.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Right.
That's fine. So now agenda item 7A, so to consider the 2026 Christmas light event proposal from the project group. So I'll hand back to the project group.
Well, I think there's everybody's read the proposal, but fundamentally, I think most of the questions have been asked by the members of the public. And I think we've pretty much covered all the answers. That it's not going to be detracting away from it. We are concerned about the budget that's been quoted, so we will be working hard to make sure that comes within a nearer target that we would be happy with.
If council do decide to go with.
Yes, so it's a question of that's what we would propose, and it takes a lot of the organisational responsibility off the shoulders of puts it on somebody else. So we don't have to worry about marquees blowing over and things like that we have done in the past, and they would take control and responsibility of all of that. And then we work with all the existing partners that are involved with it at the moment. And it would just be a much more professional event, and it would be hopefully something we can look forward to. Because apart from that, we really want to make this year an outstanding event for the Christmas lighting. So we want to say, we've done well over the last few years, but this year we want to do something spectacular. And as far as the management company is concerned, the view is that if we do it this year and the council pays for it, if it works, then next year we've already got some positive sound feedback from businesses that may be wishing to sponsor it next year. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, then we move on. But this will be a single event only this year as a trial.
And Peter, the final amount is not carved in stone, right? I mean, we could say
We're not happy with
we
that.
don't need security and they could drop that a bit. And so it's just, we're basically saying, yes, let's go with an event. Redcliffe will do it, but the rest of it is fluid.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
I was thinking no, because I was seeing about 7 different businesses on Facebook who sort of said they're concerned because they already run stalls. They, like I said, they provide refreshments. And I just wonder if some of these, if they add more, like the children's rides, will it take money away from things like, the carnival, Lucky Dip and those? Well, it will, because people have only got so much money. And as Patrick said, with Market Square, if the weather, it's very weather dependent, isn't it? If the weather's lovely, people, you know, the Market Square is always chock-a-block. If it pours of rain, it's not chock-a-block, so it's really weather dependent, isn't it?
Yeah, it is absolutely, but that's the nature of
Same
the
with
beast, isn't it?
previous years, that was it, yeah.
Yeah. And they always turn out for that switch on, but yeah, certainly it's envisaged that it won't actually detract from anything. Hopefully it encourage people, because traditionally we know that we tried, I think it was 2 years ago, wasn't it? We decided we'd make an all-day event starting at something like 11 or 12 o'clock. We didn't get, and it's the usual thing, we didn't get anybody there until about 5:30, because, you know, kids come home from school at 3:30, 4 o'clock, they go and have the dinner, and they come down, they switch on 5:30. We're hoping to make this a much bigger event and, you know, something quite spectacular within a reasonable budget.
Having been a volunteer, did that all day, on numerous occasions, so I'm happy to let somebody else do it, to be perfectly honest, on the proviso that we do continue to use local businesses for food and drink and stuff.
Absolutely grateful into that,
Yeah,
if it was to go ahead.
And we mustn't forget, like, for the ones that members have been there, obviously, a while doing it, it's not just the day, it's the
It's the lead up
every
to it.
time we all have to run up to sort out the lights with ladders and do this and do that, you know.
Yeah.
That's a lot of unseen stuff what the public don't see us do
And risk.
and risk.
And there's
time built into it as well.
regards to the security team, so I can't remember this lady's name here.
Mary.
Rita, we have had security in the past year. You just don't see them, they float around. We've had we use them for the carnival.
Yeah.
I say we use them for the carnival.
Yeah.
The security / first aid. And 1 year we did have them because there was a bit of a dog fight. It wasn't even humans, it was a dog fight, and then the humans started to get funny with each other, so they had to step in.
I think it also helps to kind of encourage the road closure to actually remain a road closure.
Yeah.
Having people stand on barriers.
Definitely.
It's just occurred to me just to give a further picture on the event that I forgot to mention on the previous one, which we've agreed, is that we will probably not be dressed on the Christmas tree this year. Forgot to mention that, so I apologise for that, but it seems unlikely. Because that is the most expensive part of the event, and I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and I've lived with that tree being lit for the last 50 years that I can remember. And I thought, oh no, it's got to be done. But the shape that has gone out of shape is more of a Christmas pudding rather than a Christmas tree, as been described by Clark. And we felt we could do something to enhance that tree, but not do it in the traditional manner. So this year's going to be.
But we have a star on the top still.
No.
It's the stuff on the tops not helping where it's been
Okay.
cut, is it? It's damaging.
It's too high, it's too,
I
all three companies have said it's not sustainable.
would love it, but
We had
Gone with no.
don't know.
You saved your seat.
I think,
You don't have to say.
I think you ought to go public about that, because
Well,
it's sent a backlash, you know what I mean, on
It's
Facebook.
taken all the paperwork.
Yeah.
All of the-
It ought to
all of the
be
quotes ought to be
I do
sent
think there might be a bit of backlash, because people.
And then if there is, I welcome them to come to the meetings and have their say for next year. But this year, I like the idea that we do something different. We've put up our precept quite a lot. Let's do a big impact thing. Let's let the residents see where their money is going. Let the impact be seen and felt. Should they not like it, they're more than welcome next year to come and have their say at every meeting and join the committee accordingly.
I'd also
So-
say to that point, that we can publish it absolutely, as Councillor just said, as mentioned at this meeting, it won't change the outcome because the architect has told us that we can't decorate it.
But if you explain that to the public, they won't be so cross.
It'll be on our website.
that's what I needed to add that.
Yeah. So any other points on this before we move to motion proposal?
Yeah, I propose
On block, you would propose all of,
section A, yeah.
yeah, so to note, the first one, but then B, C and D on block. So agreed in principle that 2026 should be used as an opportunity to trial a more professionalised event delivery model, subject to final budget confirmation and necessary permissions. Authorise the officers to undertake further work to confirm the total estimated cost of delivery including any ancillary requirements such as road closures, licensing, insurance, and agrees that a post-event review be undertaken after Christmas 26, with a report back to council to inform planning for 27 and beyond, including the potential sponsorship, or potential sponsorship support. Proposing that, seconded by councillor Edge. All in favour? All in favour? Yeah, unanimous. Okay. Agenda item number 8. So to consider the tender submissions for the pavilion compound and car park projects, and approve the next steps as presented. So this is obviously there's quite a lot of information in here, which I gather you have all read through, but I'm going to hand over to the project team to talk through this. So Councillor Flavel.
Well, you probably picked up from the agenda item about this project. It's got very much more complicated now. We need to appoint a contractor who we can work with to develop the design and deal with all the proposal, the planning applications, etc. And sort of move forward with the design in much more detail. I actually would recommend that we use a contractor B, and for various reasons. One is that they have got a track record in car park design, whereas contractor A hasn't, as far as I can tell from the researches that I've done. They came over much more confident when we met him, and in the right sort of language. So really, as it's sort of laid out in the agenda, there's quite a lot of work to be done now once we've appointed the contractor. So I feel confident that we should get a very good result.
Okay. Any comments?
I'm going to abstain because, basically because, I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh yes, because I did before, I wasn't sure about us going ahead without a specification, a really detailed, we want a pedestrian entrance for mobility scooters, all this sort of thing. We didn't sort of include that because we have a baseline general scope of works. And so I think it's just hard to compare because we don't know what the detail of what they're doing, they're proposing. And my concern is that we choose a contractor and then they can add a bit on for this and add on for that. So what limit, is there a 10% sort of limit that they can put their price up by as time goes on, or could it keep getting added to?
Well,
that's my concern.
We've got a price yet.
Well, this is what I mean. The tenders, they've both given a price. One's 100,000 more than the other.
They've given a basic price based on the original tender document. And that was really prepared to actually consider who we appoint to do the detailed design.
So you don't know what the cost is going to be because we're already over budget, aren't we? Because we only had 50,000, we're now 62.
I don't know what the cost is going to be because we don't know what the impact of the planning applications and all the other issues that we've got to deal with.
This is just to appoint the contractor,
right,
not the actual scope of work.
So they could charge us whatever they like.
It's a question of whether Councillor Fenner is capable of being on this project group because it's not really. It's a
no, I'm here to represent the residents.
Excuse me, no, you're not. You're here to actually work in partnership with Councillor Bath as whole.
That's
come
just
to a
true.
proposal, and you're abstaining against it. This should be a working partnership between yourself,
We're allowed to disagree.
and the clerk.
I've worked in tendering,
You can speak when I finish, but we are in a situation where you were supposed to be working out a plan, same as we've done with our Christmas event, and worked out and come up with a thing. You can't even support your own project. I think that's outrageous. I think you've got a questionable position on that.
Nonsense, because I wanted us to provide specification from the very beginning, so it's very difficult for me with my experience.
One voice at a time, one voice at a time.
Have you got the experience of actually car park designs?
No.
That's
Right
irrelevant.
specification.
No.
I did disabled driveways and drop curves, yes, and they cost about £5,000.
Not the same.
It's not.
Not
Okay.
No, but I have got
The
experience
scope
of
of
it.
works is vastly different.
If Councillor Patel is prepared to
But how,
propose, I will second it.
right, okay, thank you. Councillor Ditton, please.
Fine.
To my mind, the scope of works was based on, this is what we want, this is what you need to quote for. So 2 companies have quoted for the exact same things, which will be developed once we've picked one into specific, putting plants here, doing this there. The actual base thing is still going to be a car park, which has fully accessible bays into an accessible pavilion. So the actual work isn't going to change regardless of who we pick, because it still has to meet legal requirements for your car park, legal requirements for accessibility, legal requirements for lighting and all the rest of it. So that bit's not going to change. The only bit that will change, to my mind, is what wood we use for the edging or things like that. I don't think I'm the best person to pick what wood goes where, how long it will last. That's what I personally would pay someone else to do that knows what they're doing. But that's just my view.
Thank you, Councillor. Any other comment?
So there's no limit on how much the price can go up from 63,000.
That's the working party. It'll come back to the council for approval.
But then what if we say it's too expensive?
And they adapt to design.
Like the toilets go from 3 toilets down to 2 toilets.
Yeah.
But the options are either you accept what they propose or else, and then come back to the council for an increase in the budget allowable for it, or else you take aspects out. Simple as that.
Okay, do we have a proposal then, please? Right, so just to be, are we proposing, we have to propose on block here for, so we've got
A to C.
Yeah, A to C. Okay, so that would be appoints the preferred contractor B based on the baseline tender submission and tender evaluation as presented at the meeting. Confirms that any surfacing changes, lighting proposals and drainage, surface water considerations are to be treated as integral elements of planning and detailed design process, particularly in light of the site's flood zone 3 status, and confirms any changes affecting scope and or cost and the proposed planning submission package, including retrospective element required for the containers we've brought back to full council for approval before submission stroke implementation. You happy to support that?
Yeah.
The seconder?
I'll second.
Councillor Edge, all in favour? All in favour? Abstain.
I already said I'm going to abstain because I don't know how much it's going to cost.
Yeah, fine.
I think it's in the power to the contractor.
So we've got 2 more other recommendations on here, so which is to confirm the planning submission package should also include the retrospective element.
That or C, I thought you included C.
That's D.
That's D.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, apologies, yeah.
Confirms that the planning submission package should also include the retrospective element now identified in respect to the lean-to structure and supporting required by the planning authority in relation to amenity servicing, drainage and lighting. So I'll propose D. Seconder, Councillor Ditton, all in favour for D? Yep, all in favour, 1 abstention. And then finally, there is a consideration to appoint an additional councillor and invite the chair of Farmac to the project group to share the workload and improve resilience. Do I have any volunteers for additional?
Against my better judgment, I'm going to put myself forward.
Okay, so Councillor Forbes.
Against your better judgment, I would second that.
And then are we happy to invite the chair of Farmac to join the project group to share the workload and improve resilience? I think.
I would see that
Yeah.
as a benefit.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll propose then that Councillor Forbes is appointed as an additional councillor to the group and invite the chair of Farmac to the project group to share the workload and improve resilience. Well, seconded by Councillor Wilton. All in favour? All in favour. Thank you very much. And then we need to know that the detailed design will be developed post-appointment, and the approval of the final layout and detailed design is not practical at the June meeting because detailed design is developed post-appointment informed by phase 2 inputs. And we also note that the updated planning advice received from Wiltshire Council Planning Officer, namely that a full planning application will be required for the scheme, including retrospective consent for the two existing shipping containers and existing lean-to structure, together with consideration for amenity impacts arising from the proposed additional containers. Okay, thank you. On to agenda item number 9. So the clerk's report, including correspondence, progress report on full council business. So I'll hand over to you.
So it's all in your report. Just to very quickly summarise, Lloyds Bank debit card accounts now closed down. That was based on the internal auditor recommendation because we've got a card that's linked to the main business account, so we're paying 2 lots of bank fees. So that is a saving of it's only £8.50 a month, but it all adds up. Men's shed lease, as with everything, we've hit a few little snags, but that is now progressing with the solicitor as approved by council probably a couple of months ago now. It's further complicated because Castle Meadow is obviously a very historic piece of land, not appearing on the land registry, so we've got to go through a first registration process for that, which then informs the lease. Then we've got to have a lease compliant plan, and so on and so on and so on. So it's a bit more complex than originally thought, but we are spinning those plates in the background. Public toilet progress update. So in terms of the detailed design, internal design linked to the construction tender, that is all being launched this week. The building contractor scope of works has been written by Healthmatic as the subject matter experts. The final drawings have now been received. The links that are in your pack have been updated because we've asked them, Healthmatic, to put in the version numbers. So those have now all been updated and are on the website ready for the tender to launch this week. And the electrical and ventilation elements and the ceiling layout has all now been approved. So the project group, so Charlotte doesn't know this yet because she's come back Monday, but you're going to hit the ground running, Charlotte, this week. Probably on Thursday. Welcome back. Yeah. The next step is to work with the contractor to come up with an external design that's going to fit with the conservation area, and they've already started looking at what that could look like, and there are a number of things that we'll need to thrash through in terms of what that external layout is going to look like. So once that's been done, then we will bring that back to council, but we're heading in the right direction with that, which is really good. The condition survey for the council offices is happening on the 16th of June. So we've got drones flying over, we've got the surveyor coming in, we've got the architect coming in, and that report will essentially then be presented probably in the July meeting, so that as a council you can fully understand exactly what the issues are with the building and any remedials that need to happen. And then the architect that has been commissioned can then start to consider what the next stage looks like for the development of the council offices, and making them much more accessible to all longer term. The good news in section E is that the annual external roster play inspections were all carried out 2 weeks ago. They actually came in on the day that the agenda was published, so we quickly whipped those in there for you. And they're all broadly as expected, and they all align with Reese's in-house checks that he does. So everything's now talking to each other, and we've now got clarity on next steps with our play parks. And then following the resolution in May, on the 3rd of June, so earlier this week or last week, we published the public rights, which means that the public can come in and inspect our accounts by appointment over a 6-week period for the 25-26 financial year. So that's all in line with the statutory requirements. It's my first part of the report. Over to you, Delegate.
Yeah, any questions?
Can I ask, please, on the chamber, I mean, we're obviously in here because Councillor Boyd couldn't get upstairs to the chamber. whatever we do with the upstairs of the chamber, is this, when they do the design or the drawing, are they going to look at the potential for fitting a lift
So
for the upstairs?
there's two parts to this. So the first part is the council needs to understand exactly what its risks are in terms of the building and the build. Because we know we've got rising damp. We know that there are some issues with the roof and there's definitely some issues with the drain pipes. So once we've got a full understanding of exactly what needs to happen, there'll probably need to be, I'm just assuming, a phased period of works. So rather than tackling bits in piecemeal fashion, actually, let's look at the whole thing and then schedule that over a 1, 2 or 3 year period, depending on what the findings are. The next step will be then for the council to consider what it wants to do in terms of more accessible council. In terms of our office, we're not front facing, we're hidden at the back of the building, nobody knows where we are. And if this council wants to be at the heart of the community, we then need to look at how we reconfigure that building to make it much more accessible, not only to the council, but also to the public. That's why we're here. So that will need to, once we've got that report, that will be the start point of then developing a much more robust approach to how we manage it going forward.
Thank you.
I think just going back to the land registry at Castle Meadow, just I've forgotten about this, but I just remembered that the field was purchased and was given to the town as a result of the Wilton Carnival going back to 1936, something like that. So it's not owned by the town council, but it was given to the town, and the town council and the town council and the custodians of it effectively for the town.
So what we have to do is make it a much more appropriate agreement for the times that we're in. So this council has looked after that land for decades. So therefore, if we can prove that we have maintained it and managed it for a period of 7 years or more, that ticks the box for first registration. Because what I'm embarking on is doing that process for all of the areas across the council.
I just wondered whether you knew that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Well, I got the evidence for that. If you haven't got it.
Yeah.
Okay. So on to the second part of the article, the delegated decisions for information, with my part delegated spend. So this was spend for electrical works in the pavilion, the deep clean pavilion carpets, and then also painting for the front doors, external and internal redecoration of the council offices. If there's no objection or concerns, I would propose that we approve these on block. Any questions? No, so it's proposed on block. You're going to second, Councillor Disson. All in favour? All in favour. Thank you. Okay, so then on the other matters to resolve, so the first one is the recontract of the Cloudy IT contract.
Can I just say something?
Yes, please.
In your papers, it's within the recommendation, I reference a 3-year period. Personally, I think the council should consider just extending it for a 1-year period, which will allow us then to go out and have a look at other suppliers. I did manage to get a second proposal in. I did have a meeting with another supplier on Friday last week. It was significantly more expensive. So it hadn't come in time for the papers. But that just triggered me to think, actually, is there an opportunity where we could go and get some more quotes? But now we need to get this done. But if we just give ourselves a year, then we can then have a shop around. It's a good proposal. We've managed to get it down by about 800, and there are 3 other areas that I've asked them to reduce. So that will be your highest cost, which does seem on the surface to be good value. But I think a 1 year is more appropriate.
And if we do a 1 year, they won't bump the price
No.
up. It's not less
No.
if you do 3
No,
years.
it is less, but not by much.
Okay.
I'm entirely up to council, of course.
Don't have a problem with that.
So
I think having a look around would be good, but having raining space to do so would be even better.
So go with the proposed recommendation, but with a 1-year period rather than 3-year period.
okay, seconder, Councillor Disson, all in favour? So the next one is photography and other media consent forms. So phone concerns raised about the use of council images, communications often prepared photography and other media consent forms to provide clarity and consistency. So we need to, we've got a copy of the form here. Yeah. One, ask them. And we want to just have a look at the form.
There wasn't a link.
You may have already looked at the form, so just if there's any concerns or objections to the content of the form or amendments wanted.
It's something we also want to think about members of the public. We're taking photographs.
Mhm.
We're taking photographs of the public, less the general sort of like crowd thing. And then if there's any individuals that we want to get a consent about.
Yeah.
Would I suggest we had a third option, because it's just yes or no at the moment, just to complicate it. Obviously for councillors, if we're having a organised, all dress up in our gowns event for a photograph, we're pre-warned that it's coming and we dress appropriately. I know the clerk lent a tie to a councillor the other week, that sort of thing. So you're pre-prepared. Could you have, I do consent, I do not consent, I consent if we're pre-warned about having a standard photo, and obviously, we obviously agree to being on video at the meetings because we know we're going to be. It's more a case of when you don't know it's going to happen and you're not aware of it.
May I say something?
Yes, please.
In my personal opinion, if I'm representing the council at a meeting, a function, or anything, then I would consider it possible that I'll be photographed and that will be used. I think that's part of my role in representing the council and attending events. I mean, having said that as well, whenever I'm out and about, I consider myself a councillor, and if I get photographed, then, that's the way it is. I think your suggestion would potentially will create too much admin. We can't expect officers to be anticipating the possibility of photographs being taken and then contacting every councillor and advising them as such. I think it should be a blanket yes or no. And personally, as a councillor, I think it's a yes, because I think that's part of our, or it's the way I see it, is part of our role as a councillor.
I would tend to agree, and you are in the public eye, and if you as a council specifically did not want a certain picture to be in there, then you could quite easily mention that to the clerk or whatever. You say, no, I don't want my photograph of that taken today to be publicised. So it leaves it that flexibility is within the existing thing.
Councillor Dixon, yeah.
So within this form, you do have three options as well. So you've got the official council website, social media, and then digital and hard print. So by rights, you could, Maria, kind of say, well, I don't want to be on social media or in print, but if you need to use my photograph for my profile on the website, then that would be absolutely fine. So I think that would cover your suggestion, essentially.
Because it would cause problems if I said you don't want to be on any photo.
Well, I mean, we could just
Remembrance Day, you'd have to make sure I wasn't in the middle. That would be no good, would it? Because once you're in a gown, you expect to be photographed, don't you? Really?
I mean, it all starts off it all starts with the publicity or public with us in our gangs on the website, because we are the councillors, because they want to see our faces and we are part of the community. So it's important that, I think it just goes to the territory. We put ourselves we put our heads above the parapet to represent our community. They want to see who we are. I've got no qualms whatsoever.
Okay, so we'll move this to a proposal then. Anyone want to propose this?
Does Maria put a proposal together?
No, I haven't put a proposal together. I mean, my proposal was that we have an option that, if it's pre-organised, official photograph, or it's a Remembrance Day, it's an official event, yeah, that's fine.
So your proposal, I do consent, I do not consent, I do or not consent, I make a consent.
Because otherwise you're given free any photograph, however awful it is, can be pushed up on Facebook, you know, and events.
So you're proposing, is there a seconder?
I'm not entirely sure what's being proposed, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
That's fine, motion's failed. So is there a proposer for the form?
I propose we accept it.
Yeah, that's fine, got a seconder? Councillor Willock, all in favour? All in favour, one abstention? All against?
Or can I just write on there that, you know, I'll vote for the form and just scribble on it.
All in favour then, great, okay, on to cricket wicket covers. Surplus assets. So this is following project group discussions about the cricket wicket covers on extended pavilion compound collect storage of wicket cover frame. Members noted this to enable safer storage. However, further advised that manufacturing still were advised confirmed that there is no need for the cricket wicket covers for the cricket wicket that we've got, basically. So the recommendation of the council resolves to declare mobile cricket wicket covers, frames and covers
You're right, that.
surplus to requirements and authorises officers to arrange sale or direct disposal of the outcome reported back to the council. Please.
Can I make an amendment that we get in writing, we just check in writing that the cricket club don't want them?
They don't. It was never fit for purpose anyway, so I've just said, I've proposed it to the mayor and
So I've got, so you're proposing sale or disposal?
both, just get rid of them.
Okay,
Well, can we say,
Sell,
let's try and sell first and then,
I think it should come back to the council personally if they've got to be disposed of because they weren't cheap.
It's okay, it's
Yeah.
no problem.
So you're going to propose sale, yeah?
Prefer to sell it.
Yeah, well,
No, just arrange the sale.
there's
Yeah.
got to be a cricket club out there that wants to
so yeah, so councillor has proposed the sale of the cricket wicket covers. Seconder, please. Councillor Forbes, all in favour? All in favour of
I'm
one?
going to abstain because I, you know, just want to check that the cricket club.
Yeah, that's fine. So,
Okay.
right, so 9.3.4, so the community grant application that has been received from Kindness Covered CIC for the Wilton Pantry project, proposed to operate from Pavilion, Wilton from September onwards. Yes, go ahead.
So I just want to bring to council's attention that this is a new setup. This is an offshoot from the kindness covers that are already operating out of Sarum. They want to set up in Wilton. They are missing one piece of information in relation to compliance with our policy. So the council my recommendation is that we defer this item until that piece of governance is resolved and bring it back in July.
Do you want me to propose that?
No, actually, we don't need to do that. I'll just put it on the July meeting. If we can.
You could be happy to wait until we've got everything done.
Yeah.
Just say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes, so, but the application will come back as it stands.
Yes,
which is obviously, I'm sure you didn't miss it, it's £1,000, obviously we only newly approved 500. But we'll defer it to July.
We'd also suggest that the clerk also perhaps recommends that they approach the Wilton Rotary. If it's a Wilton, if it's Wilton going to be a Wilton based, then
Yeah.
sorting out the Wilton Rotary would probably be key to support.
Good point, thank you. And then the final item, so welcome to Wilton signage. So the signage located at Netherhampton Road, on Park Corner, the Avenue Junction of Kingsway and Warminster Road South, South Street and Bulbridge Hill. So the missing signage at Wishford Road and Shaftesbury Road. So we are being asked to resolve to replace the two welcome to Wilton signs at a cost of £2,969.50 plus that.
Can I just-
Questions? Yeah.
Yes, the hedge cutters broke them.
Yeah.
And I'm concerned that if we replace them in exactly the same spot again, they'll break them again. It was quite obvious they had cut because it was the side nearest the hedge, which was knocked off, not the outside where you expect a lorry to hit them. So I wonder, is there anything we can do to prevent them being hit by the hedge cutters again?
Well, I think probably we were remiss there, Mr. Mayor, of not contacting them at the time. And we should have gone through their insurance brokers
Yeah.
probably. Just also to say, there is another one that we've missed off the road, which is Birkin Lane. There is one at Birkin Lane. Well, so we have an extra one.
And the poles there.
That's the signs there. It's by the school, by the junior school.
It's intact.
By the school. That's intact, that's fine, yeah. I just say it's missing off the list of ones that we've already got.
Oh, okay, oh,
It's
right, right.
totally the wrong location, but that's another story.
So this is just for two
Yeah.
new
Yeah, we're
ones.
still got the two new ones, but yeah.
Councillor Bratton.
I agree, actually. I would have thought we need to be confident we've got secure locations for them before we buy them. I think we started this conversation at some point last year, and maybe budgetary reasons or whatever, I can't remember, but Councillor Lefemin is right. We don't want to put them back in the same place because the same thing will happen. And I think Shaftesbury Road is a particular challenge.
So close to the hedge up there.
The pavement is narrow, isn't it? There's a very narrow opportunity. It would be my suggestion that we satisfy ourselves we've got secure places for them before we order.
That's what was the talk before, wasn't it, about moving them slightly if needed. We did talk about trying to move them
We did.
to a more suitable position.
But in the case of Shaftesbury Road, we might even need, I don't know, Peter might know, highways consent. It might have to go on the other side by the property. I don't know. We'd need.
Well, I think we can, one of the Shaftesbury Road can still go in the same location, but the way it was mounted, the way it can still be, because there is a sliding back on it. So you've got two fixed poles and these connecting bars, although the fixing bars are available, so you can adjust them across. And I don't think they were further enough into the hedge. We may have to cut the hedge back a little bit more to get the effective thing, but I think that is a workaround. And possibly the same one with Wishford Road. If you don't put it there, we're actually going to put it along Wishford Road. You know, we probably could do the same with the existing poles or move the poles out slightly so that it avoids the hedge a bit more.
The thing that the thing about the hedge rows, and then somebody comes and cuts it and swipes the sign. So unless we have a programme of maintaining the hedge area around the sign, maybe we could do that. I don't know, but
If they are moved, we have to go through a whole load of consents. with highways and.
okay, well, just my thoughts.
I think it's a workaround that we.
Yeah.
So are we? I mean, personally, I'd be happy to.
Oh, sorry, sorry.
I was just going to say, I'd be happy to replace them. You go first.
No, sorry, sorry.
Go ahead.
That's right, yeah.
I'd be happy to replace them as long as we're confident they're just not going to get broken again.
Yeah, I agree.
Second that.
Councillor Dis.
I was just going to say, if we buy them, are we not more likely to cite them rather than not buying them and arguing every month about whether we should buy them or not, because we've got no to cite them. If we get them in, they're there, someone can go out, measure the hedge as it is now, at peak growth without being cut, and put in posts or whatever in the exact same spot, but so that it's above and around hedgerows. And if it gets knocked off next time, then we learn lessons and claim immediately, having taken photographs.
I get the impression it's consensus that we want them. It's just.
Yes.
So
We've been long enough without them, haven't
We
we?
would never know who broke it.
but if it's one Wishford Road, it's obviously going to be the contractor side. That's a fairly obvious thing, but
Who cuts the hedge up at the top of Shaftesbury Road? Is it the?
well, it's not the hedge. It's been numerous bits. It's on Shaftesbury Road when it's in the corners been picked off. But certainly, if we want to replace them or put in different posts, we will have to go back to the highways authority for permission to do that.
So we've got a proposal.
Order them.
Yeah.
Seconded by Councillor Ditton. All in favour? All in favour. And at 20:38 concludes tonight's meeting. Thank you very much, everyone.
Would you like these?
Yeah, we got it.